They say that some places never forget, that the walls and floors remember the sorrows of the past, replaying them over and over like an echo trapped in time. I never believed in such things, not until my parents and I moved into our first apartment in Bulacan. It was a small home, tucked away in an alley, barely noticeable among the clustered houses. My father worked long hours and often came home late at night, leaving just my mother and me alone for most of the day. I was only 3 weeks old at the time, too young to remember, but my mother still shudders whenever she recalls what happened. One night, exhausted from tending to my endless cries, she had finally managed to put me to sleep. We didn't have a proper crib, so she placed me inside a sturdy icebox that sat on the center of our dining table. She made sure the setup was secure, surrounding it with a thick, makeshift barrier so I wouldn't roll out. Then, at some ungodly hour, she woke, up to the sound of my wailing. At first, she thought she was dreaming, until she saw my father, frozen in shock, lifting me from the cold, hard floor. The icebox was still on the table, still surrounded by the barriers she had carefully arranged. There was no way I could have fallen, yet there I was, crying in my father's arms. My parents exchanged horrified glances. A chill settled in the room, as if unseen eyes were watching them, waiting. Then the whispers began. Soft at first, like the rustling of leaves in the wind, then more distinct, low murmurs that seemed to seep through the walls. My mother began noticing strange occurrences around the house. The bathroom door creaked open by itself despite being firmly shut. The air inside was always damp, carrying the scent of something old and stagnant. At night, she would hear the sound of running water, the soft pattering of feet against the floor, and, most unsettling of all, sobbing. Faint, heart-wrenching, sobs that echoed from the bathroom. She tried to ignore it. Perhaps it was just exhaustion, paranoia creeping in after sleepless nights. But then there was the shadow. She first saw it while washing dishes, just beyond the kitchen's dim light. A silhouette, standing in the doorway, unmoving. It vanished when she turned. But the worst part? The feeling of being watched. A constant presence looming over her shoulder. A breath of cold air against her neck. The sensation of unseen fingers grazing her skin. The tension in the house grew heavier. My mother refused to be alone in the dark. She started leaving the lights on, whispering prayers under her breath. My father, ever the skeptic, dismissed it all, until the day an old neighbor stopped by and spoke in hushed, wary tones. There had been another woman who lived there before us. She was young, expecting her first child, filled with hope for a future that never came. Her partner abandoned her, leaving her to face the cruel world alone. She withered, drowning in sorrow, her body frail, her mind unraveling. She stopped eating, stopped speaking, stopped living, until she finally ended it all. They found her, in the bathroom, hanging from a beam, her unborn child never to see the light of day. The bathroom, the sobs, the whispers, my fall. It all made sense now. The old neighbor's voice trembled as he spoke his final words. Maybe she thought your child was hers. Maybe she just wanted to hold her baby, just for a moment. A shiver ran down my mother's spine. My father, once dismissive, could no longer deny the truth. We packed our things and left that apartment without looking back. Before leaving, my parents whispered their thanks to the empty space, hoping, praying, that she would finally find peace. Years have passed since then. I've grown up, pursued my dreams, and found happiness in the life my parents built for me. But sometimes, late at night, when the world is still and the shadows stretch long across my walls, I wonder, did she ever find the baby she was looking for? And if not, who is she holding now?